All right, welcome back to the official Hammer Time podcast. I'm your host as always, Cade. Alongside me is my duo, Jake and Dylan. We are back after our most profitable betting weekend ever. For those of you who missed our preview, our recap, we went over probably the most historical weekend HT has ever had. So now that Dylan is here, I think we can go over it again for the people who missed. I know we clipped it on TikTok and I had to post it because it was actually nuts. But we'll hit on it again for the folks who missed. Go ahead. How'd you guys' weekend go?
What was the numbers? I don't even remember. I know it was like 16-3, I believe.
A lot to nothing. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was 16-3, 80% for you.
Yeah, I mean, just
That's
a nice
light.
little light weekend. Nothing too crazy. So
I went 22-5. Nice little weekend.
And I was the worst.
Yeah, 15-7 is garbage.
Sad trumpet noises and whatnot. And yeah. Anyways, that was the weekend. I'm hoping to God we can do it again. Hopefully this weekend, if not relatively soon. But yeah, if that's not pretty alarming to you guys to kind of maybe even, I don't know, just start hitting the button. That means tail or place bet, whatever it is that you guys do with us. I don't know what else we got to tell you. That's pretty much it. So today, good news. We have more bets to go over.
yeah, but I will
Cool.
say let's not just full tail Dylan here, okay?
Oh, I mean,
I
why
I
not?
like to keep my win percentage up. I don't want a whole lot of people tailing me. Thanks.
We're due for a little bit of regression here, but not enough regression. So we're going to try to keep this up and running and not have
We're going to keep
50,000.
hammering.
Yeah, we're going to have 50,000 more bets in for this weekend. Before we get into today, always want to promote the pod, always want to promote the morning huddle, always want to promote the YouTube and the Discord. So if you guys are not already, please be sure to follow, download, share, review, like, subscribe, whatever it is, and be sure to join the Discord. Completely free. Talk about our plays. Like I've said every episode, it's pretty simple. You join, we talk ball, we give you play, win money. What is the office quote? That's actually a really funny one. Why do more talk when less word do job?
Yes.
Yeah. so
Exactly.
makes perfect sense. Win money, place bet. Done. But good news is, yes, we do have more plays to go over today. It is week 4. We're moving a little bit too fast into the season. I kind of like to slow down a little bit for once. But we're getting into conference play. So we have a little bit of some conference openers, some in the Big 12. SEC kind of started last week, but we have a little bit more. But yeah, we don't have a ton to go over today, but we'll get down into that. Also, before we start, no morning huddle show this weekend. It is every other weekend. This is the weekend that we are off of doing that, so we will discuss our bets in this one specifically today. Again, no show this weekend though. So strap in. We'll get started with the first game. I believe Dylan has us kicking off, so I'll let him take the floor.
Absolutely. So we got Texas Tech, who is 3-0, making the trip to Salt Lake City to face Utah, who is also 3-0. And both of these teams, Big 12 opener. This is going to be a heavyweight clash. Just so you guys know, well, let me back up. The spread is currently 2.5 in favor of Utah. Money line for Utah is 144. For Texas Tech is plus 120. Total is sitting at 57.5. SP Plus rankings-wise, Texas Tech is number 12, powerful offensive rating. And then you look at Utah, they're not too far behind. They're at 15, and defensively they are stronger. Texas Tech leads the nation in scoring, piling up 174 points through 3 games, which is nearly 58 a game. An efficient passing attack, multiple reliable targets have already found the end zone. Looking at Utah, they have been more methodical, leaning on the ground game and clock control, but their offense hasn't necessarily flashed the same explosiveness as Tech's. Where the Utes do shine is on defense. They are one of the nation's best so far. They've allowed just 224 yards and 8 points per game. The secondary is really stingy, and they have a tough front seven. Texas Tech's defense has not been very dominant, giving up over 400 yards a game, but they've been excellent in key spots, holding opponents to just 21% on third downs while keeping the big plays in check. Betting-wise, Utah is getting around a 60% win probability, but I definitely would not count Texas Tech out in this. I think the winner of this game is going to be our Big 12 champ. And I looked into that. Texas Tech is currently favored to win the conference at plus 380. Utah isn't far behind at plus 400. I can see this game really going either way. I don't necessarily love a side. I am expecting a shootout, so give me over 57.5. But since I got Tech as my Big 12 champ, give me the Red Raiders money line.
Alrighty. I like it. I am with you on the over here. I think just looking at it from like how they've played the last 3 weeks, and once again, Utah really hasn't played anybody. Texas Tech definitely hasn't played anybody. These offenses have been really good. They kind of like Texas Tech offense looks like even though Utah's defense is super good, it looks like Texas Tech's going to be able to move the ball. It looks like they're going to be able to put up points. On Utah's side, I think Devin Dampier and this offensive coordinator that he's got is going to be able to put up points as well. I agree with you. I've got this at about 62. So 57.5, 100% would take. I would take all the way up to probably 59, I think, is your next key there. So 100% agree. Love the over for a side. Kind of agree with you. I think with where the points are at right now, I'd probably take Utah at home. Rice Eccles is a hard place to play, but I mean, I could see this going either way. The fact that this is an 11 a.m. kick is crazy to me. I hate it. I wish it was at night. I wish it was a 10 p.m. kick in Utah, but for what it's worth, I think the home team's probably it helps the home team more here. So I'll lean Utah, definitely the over.
I like both of your guys' points. Obviously, I wanted an over. I honestly, and since both of you guys do have it, I honestly might just go ahead and put it on the board just so we can have one agree for the weekend. Yeah, shocker, right?
First game that we've talked about and we agree.
And
this is a scary week already.
That's never good that we're agreeing on the first game.
I want to preface off by saying this should be college. This should be where game day's at this week, not Miami. Honestly, I don't really agree that they went to Miami at all, personally, but that's not my call. But yeah, similar to Dylan, I mean, we were both high on this team in the preseason. That doesn't really change anything. However, I was a little bit less after the Joyner injury. That does kind of scare me off, and it almost kind of makes me wonder like what this would be with Joyner. This is weird though, because traditionally this kind of game would have been defensive masterminds, right? Like Texas Tech, they came back, they have a loaded defense. I know you mentioned they let up a lot of yards per game. But then again, they put up 58 points per game. And if you put up 58 points per game, that's a lot of kickoffs to the other side. Those yards are going to pile up, and it's going to create a lot of these box score watcher, what I like to call stats. It doesn't really get into the actual rankings of stuff and stuff like that. Granted, again, they have not played anybody. They don't really know. I think this is a great first test for both teams, really. I'm really high on both of these teams. I have Big 12 championship tickets in for both of these teams, and I think I'm in a great spot personally. If I had to pick a side, I want to lean Tech on a cover, but a Utah win. I think they might squeeze this one out just because of the environment is a lot tougher than what Texas Tech has seen recently. But I'm going to take Texas Tech's team total in the first half over 13.5. It's already projected to be a high-scoring game. Guys, when you have guys like Dampier, we get them up against Morton. We get a good defense versus a good defense. This has that late 2010s teens Big 12 vibe to it, like those Oklahoma Texas Tech days. Crazy exciting offenses who need to put up points in order to score, in order to score, obviously. So I think it's quite disrespectful assuming that Texas Tech doesn't score 2 touchdowns in this first half, given how talented they really are. 47 in week 1, 48 in week 2, 28 in week 3. That's only the first half. So not to mention the defense playing absurd, but they put them in position to do so. Overall, you could take the first half total over at over 27.5 is what I have it at, which I also really like, regardless of the number. But genuinely, I think something like this is possible in the first quarter, similar to what we've seen in the Georgia-Tennessee game. I think they need to get hot really fast in this kind of environment, such as Utah's. So I expect fireworks in this game, but overall, I think this is for now the safest bet for me after missing on the total opening play. But yeah, that is posted to my action as Texas Tech's over 13.5 first half team total. Do I have the next game as well? I wasn't looking, honestly. I do. Sick. So I'll continue yapping. Number 22 Auburn goes to Oklahoma in the Palace at 3:30. We get an afternoon kickoff. You have Jackson Arnold returning to his former team. This should have like those red siren, red horn emojis and like noise sound effects that we have, because this line is just kind of ridiculous. It's pretty short total. Got it at 47. Spread for OU has jumped up in quite a bit, about 4 points since it opened. Opened at 4.5. Now it's at 7. Maybe seeing some 6s in a way. I look at it this way in this game. Michigan ranks 10th on the power index, right? Oklahoma ranks 13th. Auburn ranks 20th. Michigan line for the similar spot for a night game closed at -4.5. The Auburn line opened at -4.5. Now, up to flat 7, some 6s, like I was saying. At this point in time, kind of wants to compare, is Auburn as good as Michigan, or is Michigan as good as Auburn, or is one better than the other kind of thing? It's the same environment. Obviously, they're two completely different teams, but like, if you're getting the same line for a team that, I mean, in my opinion, I think Michigan would be much better than Auburn. Like, I don't really think that's really close. That's kind of how I look at it. But if I factor in a familiar defense playing against their former quarterback who did nothing for them other than maybe in a single game, although he looks improved, I don't think it justifies that short of a number for this kind of environment that he's about to play in. I project OU right above 6. I would not be surprised if we see 2 possessions or more in this kind of case. I just think OU's pass defense is just so good this year, as well as their defensive line. Arguably one of the best in the country that we've seen thus far. Auburn has not impressed me enough on the ground to back them in this game. And their only good cases against a very Swiss cheese Baylor defense, which at the very beginning of the year, that's hard to come by. Look for Mateer, similar game that he had in Michigan. Auburn defense is improved, but they still look shaky enough to scare me off. Rankings right now, 100th in tackling, and then 120th on the pass defensive side. I have Oklahoma at the opener, -4.5 for -110 on Fanatics. This is the first 2-unit play for me of the season, so really like this one. Like it up to 6.5. I would probably hold off after 7, honestly, but yeah, I love my number that I got, so that's already a win for me.
Yeah, I mean, jumping on this early, I still would jump on this as a 6.5. I have a 6.5 in this game. You can still find a 6.5. I was looking today. It's still on there. It's still out there. I'm like you. I don't know if I would play it past 7, but arguably this should be safe up to 10. So I don't know. Even on the total side of things, I could see this one going over. But like you said, with Oklahoma's defensive line, they could just disrupt Auburn, and Auburn might not put up very many points. But I do expect Auburn to put up at least 10. And then, I'm thinking, what would that mean? We need 28, 38. I don't know. I don't really have a play on the over under here. But I do love Oklahoma by at least a touchdown.
With you guys, I think Oklahoma dominates this game. Looking at just what we've seen so far this year.
Uh-oh.
This is not good.
Uh-oh.
Auburn has done nothing through the air so far. We watched SMU dominate Baylor's secondary 2 weeks ago, which is what we thought was going to be their weakness, Baylor's. We thought that was going to be their weakness all along. Auburn runs for 300 on the ground, never had to throw the ball. So that doesn't show me anything. Then they just played South Alabama, good group of 5 team, and were struggling to throw the ball all game. So now you go play one of the best defenses in the SEC on the road, and you expect me to back them at 4.5 at start and then 6.5 right now? I'm surprised this number hasn't crossed 7 like in every book. I'm surprised there's Auburn money coming in. I think this is a dominant win by Oklahoma. I don't think Jackson Arnold can throw the ball and beat them. I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball and beat them. I 100% see John Mateer cooking this Auburn defense because, like Cade said, 100th in tackling, 120th in pass defense. Deion Burks should have 150 yards. John Mateer should have 80 yards rushing with 6 broken tackles. So I agree. I hate that this game isn't at night, and I hate the Florida-Miami games at night. I think that is ridiculous. Give Oklahoma 2 night games. It's one of the best environments in the country. Give me a night game here, but yeah, 100%. I think Oklahoma rolls.
It's dangerous that we're already agreeing on back-to-back plays.
So are those board plays or are those we'll see plays?
Yeah, I would do
I have a 6.5, so.
Are you good at 6.5, Cade?
Yeah.
I know you have 4.5.
In all honesty, here's what I might do, just for the heck of it. This is going to be an exclusive pod play. You guys ready for this? So I'm probably going to play an alt up to 13.5 on this one, honestly, just because of the value that's probably on there. Like, there should be no reason why this is not 2 possessions. That's mean. Looking at the ratings and all the rankings behind that, there should be zero excuse, in my opinion.
I would agree. I would play that too.
Debating on tracking it. I don't think I'm going to track it unless if it kind of hits, because I don't like tracking long shot plays like that, honestly, just because I think it kind of messes up with unit size personally. That's a preference for me. I know it's kind of different for a lot of other people, but
I will say too, just to make a point, I don't feel like a whole lot of people are in yet on these games for this week, and I expect this to move like Jake is talking about, moving up over a touchdown. So I would definitely get in while you can. Even if does hit a 7, taking this down to a 6.5 for just probably like a minus 120-ish number, I don't think it would be a bad play either.
And you can like we've talked about, you can always live play these and get a number coming back.
Yeah,
like you can get an Auburn number and win both.
All it takes is one punt or something, one stalled drive, and then you can pretty much probably get a better number, literally.
Yeah,
so
100% agree. Yeah. We will move on to what I personally think should be game day, which is number 21 Michigan at Nebraska in Lincoln, 3:30 Eastern kick, 2:30 Central. Spread right now, Michigan minus 2.5. The total sitting at 46.5. This is the Bussin' Bowl. If you guys listen to Bussin' with the Boys, this is Will Compton versus Taylor Lewan. They're going to be on the sidelines with Josh Pate, and I think this is going to be a great game. Michigan is back on the spotlight after losing the Oklahoma game, and we saw a new wrinkle last week. If you guys weren't paying attention, Bryce Underwood carried the ball for 9 times for over 100 yards, I believe, which is something we did not see in the Oklahoma game. So it's something they brought out for conference play. This gives an added scout to Nebraska's defense that's been very bad in the run game, like very bad. We watched Brendan Sorsby take the ball for 120 yards. So big advantage Michigan there. They should be able to run the ball with the running backs in between the tackles, and they should be able to run RPOs and zone reads with Underwood all game. On the other side, it's Matt Rule year 3, which means this is where Nebraska takes a jump. We're in the spotlight. I believe this is on Fox, Fox, right? I don't know. Someone could check that for me, but
I think so.
Yeah, they're in the spotlight here. Dylan Raiola is leading a passing attack that's 6th in EPA per pass, 9th in early down EPA, and 19th in third down conversion. I know it's not against the greatest of opponents. We're only in week 4. However, from what they had last year, that's very impressive. This is a level up in competition, though. And it's up to him, it's up to Dane Key, it's up to Hunter, as well as this experienced offensive line. I expect a great game from 2 5-star QBs, 2 guys that could potentially be first rounders in their respective draft classes. The biggest questions for me is, can Bryce carry the offense to a win, or does Michigan need to run the ball so well that he doesn't have to throw the ball? And then can the Michigan defense stop what has been a very improved passing game from Nebraska this year? And then coming into this year, I was high on both of these teams. I was maybe called out a little bit by my 2 co-hosts about Nebraska and Michigan in our previews. And we're about to find out who's more improved in week 4. I personally have no play in the total. I think this could be a game that ends in the mid-30s to low 40s, or I could see it jumping to the mid-50s, depending on how these 2 teams want to play it. But my pick of the game is I'm going to be choosing my side with fellow podcaster Matt Rule at home in a big game in year 3. I've already placed Nebraska +3. This game's at half of a point on my models. I think the wide receiver core is the big difference. I'm taking the outright upset. Give me the Cornhuskers.
Yeah. I also have Nebraska plus 3.5 already placed.
Great. Let me agree. Good God.
So, yeah, I placed that like a long time ago, like game of the year type tab, first week of the season. I really expected this to flip, to be honest with you, but it really hasn't. Just down a point. I think if Michigan didn't do what they did last week, this would be flip. This would be more of a flipped or more of a pick'em line. I have a very hard time betting on Michigan or anything Michigan or talking about Michigan, but being a realist, I don't know. I still am not sold on their offense. I'm also not super sold on Nebraska yet, but I would say I like Nebraska as a whole better than Michigan as a whole right now. And that's kind of where I leaned at the plus 3.5 early. I still would say I'm there right now. So I just hope Raiola can beat this defense, and I hope Underwood doesn't run the ball for 200 yards.
This is dangerous. Not only have I been tossing and turning about it pretty much not all week, but yeah, all week. I did take a total. I have the over 44.5. Both defenses are just not impressing me like I thought they would, honestly. From the very get-go, I mean, I projected this near closer to the 48 range, 49. Both sides' strengths and the weaknesses pretty much cancel each other out. I mean, Nebraska has a very lacking rush defense right now. And by lacking, we're talking like sub 120th in the country. And it makes it even worse knowing who they played this far. Michigan attacks on the ground, and it's pretty much quite literally the only thing that they have at this point. Nebraska's offense says that they're going to have to bring this one home, though. That's the thing. They're top 10 in finishing drives, quality drives. Raiola, I'm hoping he finds a way to extend these plays. It's going to be a really good environment. That place absolutely buzzes for its ranked games, and this fan base is just probably one of the more deserving fan bases in the country of any type of win, such as this one. I don't want to say it's a must-win, but it's a big swing game that would help both teams' cases. For one, a top 25 berth for Nebraska's case, Big 12 championship conversations, college football playoff implications potentially. I don't want to call it crazy, but yeah, I'll take the +3. I'll take the points. Go Big Red.
Jeez, oh, Pete.
Give me Big Red.
Also, to 2 points. 1, Big 10, not Big 12.
Editor's note.
2.
Did I say Big 12?
Yeah, you did.
Oh, this game's on CBS/Paramount.
Oh, no.
We get CBS music?
I can listen to Gary.
God. Dude, who cares? Just like we get the music. The music alone is the best part. Also, special angle. I this sounds really like contrarian to what I pretty much have in my ticket. I don't see this. This is what scares me now. I want a world where Nebraska just beats the doors off of Michigan so bad that I can take Michigan's under team total and still play the full game over. Because quite frankly, the team total for Michigan set at 24. I do not see a world where that happens. Granted, their defense is bad. Or not bad, I shouldn't say bad. Their offense is bad. Sorry. They can't move the ball. I don't think that I see a ton of pace in this offense as a whole enough. And it's just being that confident in Bryce Underwood on the road. I mean, I think Oklahoma is a tougher environment. Before I say this, it's a tougher environment, but they're not far behind. I don't think, in my opinion, that place gets pretty nuts. A lot of people kind of project 20s teens as a final score, which I'm hoping for a 30s teens final score, because that would probably be the case that makes it cash in my case. But I really would not be surprised if Nebraska just like beats the doors off of them in this kind of case. So yeah, I'll take the points, I guess. Why not? for the fun of it.
Okay, moving on to where the real Big Ten firepower is this week.
Oh, heck yeah.
Just kidding. We are going to Bloomington, Indiana. Number 19 Indiana hosts number 9 Illinois. It's a 7:30 Eastern primetime showdown. Indiana opened as a 3.5 favorite. Now it is up to 5.5. Totals 52.5. SP Plus has Indiana slightly ahead at number 13, but Illinois has a higher notch when it comes to their offense. FPI, I don't really trust this all the time, but it gives Indiana a 60% chance to win. Offensively, Indiana has looked explosive. They're averaging about 590 yards a game. That in turn is 52 points. Their rushing game has been a strength, often topping 300 yards a game or a contest, however you want to say it. Illinois, meanwhile, scores about 45 points a game and racks up about 420 yards of offense. On defense, Indiana is among the nation's leaders in total defense, giving up roughly 220 yards a game, where Illinois has been good against non-conference opponents, allowing around 267 yards a game. Indiana's offense seems to be better equipped to push tempo and exploit the weaknesses. Their run game and balanced offense versus Illinois' defense has been solid, but has not been tested yet like this. Illinois' offense has weapons and firepower, but Indiana's defensive discipline and home field could tilt things in their favor. My models are actually all over the place with this game. I'm really not sure why Indiana's favored by this much. Looking at who they played so far, I mean, Indiana beat a decent Old Dominion team by 13 in their season opener. That was their closest game. They proceeded then to blow out Kennesaw State and Indiana State. Looking at Illinois, their toughest matchup this far was in the hostile environment we know as Duke. And
it's hostile.
And they won that 45-19. So the other two games, Western Illinois, Western Michigan, neither of those teams were able to put up more than a field goal against the Illini. I guess I get giving Indiana the edge for the home field, but in my opinion, Illinois is the better team here. The total is another tricky one. Both offenses can put up points. We've seen both defenses have the capability to limit opposing offenses. My models like the total to go over, predicting it to be around 54. I could also see this going over with how both defenses are. I don't necessarily have a play in that yet, but I am going to ride Illinois plus 5.5, and I might even sprinkle the money line.
Yeah, good points. I think a couple of things. Indiana's going to attempt to play man-to-man coverage on the outside, make these Illinois receivers and Luke Altmaier beat them and try and stop the run. They've got an elite corner on one side, so they're basically just going to attempt to play split field coverage. That's what they're going to try and do. They're going to put him man-to-man on an island. Other side will probably play zone. But can Illinois run the ball? I think that's the biggest question that's going to have to be answered in this game. They haven't really done it this year, which scares me because it's not like Duke's defensive running attack is very good. So that worries me. On the other side of the ball, this is Fernando Mendoza's first Big Ten big game. I know he played at Cal. I know he had big games last year, but this is kind of the biggest one so far. And from Indiana's offensive perspective, we know Cignetti's been hiding stuff. We know he's going to draw stuff up. And Indiana has a good home crowd. These guys, and it's not a big stadium, but they get loud. You guys have been there. So, it is an edge. With all that being said, I agree. I think 5.5 is slightly ridiculous. I think this should be 2.5.
Right.
Maybe. Yeah. I 100% agree with you. Unfortunately, we're going to go on the agree tab again. I also have Illinois. I have them plus 6. Got a good number at Bali, but I would take it at 5.5. I'd take it at 4.5. I'd probably take it over a field goal. I'm not going to say Illinois wins this game, but I 100% see this being close.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of questions to kind of keep in mind because Illinois' offense, it seems like they have it figured out. I mean, Altmaier's proven a ton of people wrong this year so far. He's doing absolute wonders for this team right now. Yeah. Obviously, the best part about it is like the great start on defense means that the offense doesn't really have to take any big chances in that case. There's not really much else for them to do. I mean, they're yet to turn the ball over. The defense is amazing at getting into the backfield, and overall, they're doing a great job of generating pressure on both sides, if you can make that make sense. But combine all of that with few penalties, great special teams, absolute brick wall of a run defense. I mean, it's all working. There's just enough push in the win over Duke to be slightly less stress tested, unlike the Hoosiers, obviously. But with Indiana's case, to feed into the cliche, they've quote unquote worked out the kinks, came up with the Bufig runs, beat Old Dominion, beat Kennesaw State, Indiana State, fixed the glitch, whatever, big whoop, right? Illinois is a big step up here, and they've got to get to Altmaier from the very start. So the key to this game for me, I don't have a side. I lean Illinois just because of the point spread is that large, yes, but like who's going to bring more pressure? That's ultimately my key. So is Indiana ready to take this game up a couple notches? Can Illinois keep its mistake-free offense play going? I mean, both quarterbacks are smart. They have really good head coaches on both sides. They're great minds. Illinois won't get the mistakes and takeaways that are needed, but Illinois is going to be better on third downs, if I had to guess, even if it's not getting the game day hype that it probably should be getting. I think it would be a great environment there. It should be one of the best games of the day, and I think it's severely underrated, in my opinion. But yeah, I'll take, if I had to, gun to my head, yeah, Illinois with the points, maybe, yeah, dabble on the outright, because I could see them kind of sneaking out of here with the field goal late in the game, honestly.
The next game is Arizona State at Baylor in Waco. This is getting kicked off at 6:30 Central local time. Baylor right now sitting at about a -2.5 favorite, with the total sitting at a high 60.5. Super excited for this one. We're getting the preseason favorite and champion from last year, Arizona State, who's coming in wounded Sun Devil mode for a heavyweight fight against Baylor. Sam Leavitt threw for 188 yards last week, and they ran the ball 42 times. Why I'm saying that? Because 2 weeks ago, they decided to run the ball 32 out of the 35 times they played Mississippi State in the second half. I think something's going on with Sam Leavitt. I think something's going on with their offense. It may not matter in this matchup, though. As we saw in the opening game of the season for Baylor, they led up 300 yards on the ground to Auburn, and then SMU threw the ball for 300 yards 2 weeks later. So obviously Baylor's defense, bad so far this year. I think ASU should be able to put big numbers up on the ground. I think they are going to be able to run the ball with their running backs. I think Leavitt will be able to add some on the ground. And at the end of the day, you have Jordan Tyson. You have the best receiver in college football that is going into the draft next year. So if they can kind of manage Leavitt and whatever's ailing him, I think they're going to be able to put points up on that side of the ball. On the other side, rubber's about to meet the road. Sawyer Robertson is bringing an electric passing attack against a secondary that struggled early on, led up 277 yards to Blake Shapen 2 weeks ago on the road. But the reason that they've been able to kind of maneuver around it has been the pass rush. They've got 11 sacks through 3 games. However, Sawyer Robertson's only been sacked 6 times and 141 dropbacks so far. That's a very low number for a guy that throws the ball a ton. The D-line's going to have to get home in this game for Arizona State if they want to win it. And I sound like a broken record because we're 4 weeks into the season, and this is going to be the third time I've backed Baylor, but I will continue to back them. I think they're the better team here. They're at home. I don't trust Leavitt right now. If they can be able to manage Tyson and they're able to limit him, I think that Baylor has a very good chance to win this game if they can stack the box. And I just trust Sawyer Robertson. He's shown us. He brought a 14-point comeback 2 weeks ago. He is ready for the big stage. These receivers, the tight end, they're ready for the big stage. If they can stay, being able to run the ball on early downs, I think they're going to have a very good chance of winning this game. I'm going to take Baylor to win. I'm going to take Baylor to cover. I think my Big 12 champion lives on through week 4.
Yeah. I also have Baylor. I have Baylor money line though. I got it at like a plus 120 or minus 125. Sorry, on FanDuel. Sawyer Robinson, I think you're going to get him against. I mean, they're not necessarily a good defense at all, but I mean, could you say that Auburn or SMU's defense is better? Possibly. And look at what he still did against them. I wish we could bet props here in Ohio, but we can't. So if you are into prop betting, just to give you guys something else to look at in this game, Sawyer Robinson's pass yards total is only at 304. I think he hits 350, 400 easy in this game. So I would definitely take the over. I would also look at Sam Levitt on the under. He's at 208. I don't think he hits 200. So that's just a couple of other things to look at. You could even look at what's Arizona State's running back Brown. I think he's only at like 60 rush yards. I think that would be over. So just look at just how I think Arizona is going to run the ball. They're going to try to attack that bad run defense of Baylor. And then on the flip side, Baylor is going to throw the ball. They've proven that they're going to throw the ball. They've proven that Sawyer can throw the ball for the entire game and do well. So I like Baylor money line, but outside of that, that's just a couple props for you guys to look at if you can bet props.
So, this is terrible. This is so bad, you guys. I can't. This is either going to be, again, our greatest weekend of all time, or this is just like our one regression weekend right before conference play and whatnot. We kind of get screwed. I'll start with my favorite play in this game, I should say, and that is the over. I have points being scored in this game. Shocker, we have two potentially great offenses. One of them we know is a really great offense. The other one, I have no idea what you're doing right now. Sam Levitt, yeah. Baylor, we've said it, yeah, in the last, what week are we in? 4 weeks? I mean, we've said it since our previews. Like, they are one of the best offenses in the country. Like, on the other hand, they look like one of the best defenses, or the worst defenses in the country. They average 38 a game, but they also allow 31 a game. Arizona State's coming back from their bounce back win after dropping their game to Mississippi State. But like, what scares me is like, if Blake Shapen did that to this defense, what in God's name is Sawyer Robertson going to do to this defense? Like, that could get bad. Yeah. I do like your prop angle. I don't have a lineup for anything like that, but yeah, if someone could, honestly, I will Venmo you. I'll be a bookie for a day.
100%.
It's minus 130 for Sawyer's over 3-0, whatever, at 305 or whatever I said. So,
yeah, I'll take that.
Like,
I could see like 420 on my
2-unit play from me. 2-unit
Maverick, lock it
in.
in.
Dude, please.
I'm going to Indiana. I'm going to drive to Indiana real quick, place it, and drive back.
Dude, Indiana does. You're right. When we went there last year, dude, we were cooking on like the 4-hour drive there. But yeah, whatever. Anyways, this is the game to me, I think, moves the needle for Baylor to like slide them into like, this team's like for real. Like, they can win the Big 12, So expect points per usual from Baylor offense. Expect them to tough this one out, get it done in front of the home crowd that is much deserving of a win like this one. It also gives them really good momentum heading into conference play. I do have the minus 2.5 as well. Yeah, I know, right? But I have a good price, minus 105 on ESPN. Total for 59.5 at minus 110 on MGM. I don't know. It's not the most consequential game of the weekend in the Big 12, but like, it's a marquee matchup. You know what I mean? And it's going to be really competitive. And Arizona's just been too disappointing for me so far this year compared to preseason expectations up to this point. Kenny D's team, like, look lethargic in week 1 before dropping a non-conference game, obviously. And it's just, after initially like rallying, I guess, in that game, which they did. I'll credit them to that, because they did come back in that game. But he's just pretty, like, you have projected to be one of the best quarterbacks in the country coming into this year, but the passing offense is like yet to really get going. It's like they're 77th in passing success rate, 75th in EPA per dropback. It's somewhat of a surprise considering the returning production on that side of the ball. But I mean, Yeah, again, they have a really popular host to win the Big 12 on one side, Baylor. Given that fact now, at least, it's I would rather take a total than back a side, but I feel too good about Baylor's offense to not take a side. So I can only look towards those two plays this weekend, and I am half unit on both of this, by the way. I'm not going full out. All right, we head to the unfortunate game day site of the weekend, and that is Florida at Miami. We might have another orange prison jumpsuit out again. I don't know. Hard Rock Stadium, Miami, Florida. 7:30 kickoff. Miami is sitting at -7 right now. Totals at 51. I'm sorry, I just really hate this game. But we're going to give it to you anyways because of how bad Florida is, and I think this could be really hilarious for Billy Napier in the absolute downfall. So we're going to get into this. We saw 2 college coaches get fired on Sunday when UCLA and Virginia Tech decided to make changes after both teams started 0-3.
Ego!
Yeah. Kind of hard not to think who's next in that conversation because he might be playing in this game or he might be coaching in this game. Billy Napier, I don't want to say this is like a must-win spot. I mean, honestly, it kind of might be for the program's sake or for the season's sake, I should say. But you better at least compete or he can go ahead and start getting his real estate agent to call because this could get bad. Many times when a coach is out the door, we've seen a lackluster effort from a team. Last week's perfect example, Virginia Tech, blasted by Old Dominion, right? 28-0 at half. And shortly, maybe, was it a day or 2 days, did they notice, when they got rid of Brent Pry? Like, literally. So, I think we might have a similar situation on Saturday, honestly. Florida falls 1-2 after a terrible game in Death Valley. Carson Beck and the Hurricanes steamroll the Cinderella of the year, and now we're pretty much back to square one with Florida getting less than a touchdown line. I don't know, man. In some spots, I mean, you have a incredibly good team, incredibly hostile environment, and yeah, it's the same line as Death Valley. But it begs the question, like similar to my point from earlier about the Auburn and Oklahoma standpoint. Is Miami just as good or better than LSU kind of thing? Because, I mean, similar environments, maybe similar teams. I know LSU's got a rough offense. Miami's pretty much they're top 3 in pretty much every category right now, if I'm not mistaken. But given the line, apparently odds makers think that they might be neck and neck. So money's going obviously strong to Miami. 71% of the tickets and the money, but the line has pretty much been at a standstill. Maybe that's moved by a single point since then. But all of a sudden now we're just supposed to believe that Florida's offense is suddenly going to figure this out and probably get the best version of Miami's defense since the turnover chain era. And 2, that Florida's defense is able to pretty much halt Miami's high-powered offense that is also averaging 40 points per game right now after dominating 2 really good ranked teams. One of them that managed to just beat Florida in their home stadium. So, and the other one's obviously a potential playoff team. So, Miami is just too much for this team in the trenches, and I just believe that that's obviously where it all starts. In this case, it's also where it's finished. So, I expect Canes to kind of pull away in this one in the second half. You cannot convince me how this is a justified line given the results of these two teams in the season right now. I think Lagway's going to continue to struggle throwing the ball in the triple coverage, as well as Carson Beck in this offense. They already look in midseason form. I'm not yet to bet this game, but I will be fine playing 7.5 for a decent price or a team total over of 29.5, also for a good price. Probably going to be posted at some point, but just not quite yet. However, same angle as last week with the LSU game. For all the people taking Florida, I really don't hate it because at some point something's got to give. You've got to at least come out and show some fight eventually, or the offense has got to have something eventually. Even, I mean, really, it's just, I don't know. I don't know if I'll have a play in it or not, but that is what I like right now.
Yeah, I mean, you make a good point. Something's got to break. Something's got to give with this Florida team. I just don't think we're going to see that. Maybe ever in the season. your best bet's against Kentucky in whatever week that is. So this week, I've already locked in. I got Miami minus 6.5 on FanDuel for minus 108. Last week, beginning of this week, I can't exactly remember what day it was. I placed it as soon as Lagway threw his 19th interception of the game into quadruple Trump coverage. I was like, yeah, Florida's never getting another cent of my money. Not Florida the state, obviously, because I'm taking Miami here, but Florida Gators, that is. Looking at it, a lot of people are blaming coaching. It could be coaching. I really don't think it is, because coaching can only go so far. And when you make some of the poor decisions like Lagway has made in these games, you cannot always blame coaching for that. You could have the perfect play. He could have somebody wide open in the flat, and he's throwing it 40 yards down the field into triple coverage. That's not a coaching thing. That's a player thing. I don't think this one's going to be close. If anything, I know Cade, you alluded to it. It could be close in the first half, but I really expect them to pull Miami to pull away in the second half. If not the first quarter, it could. I don't know. This could be an extreme blowout, or it could be close until after halftime. I do lean over. If you can get a 50.5, I do like that, just to get that key number of a 51. But at the same time, we're asking Florida to put up points in that scenario, so I don't have a plan yet, just a lean.
Not so fast. I can't believe I'm doing this. I can't believe I'm doing this.
This is funny. No, I'm just happy we have a disagree, or kind of.
Yeah, I would like to preface, I haven't bet anything, but I am going to play some devil's advocate here. So, a couple things. Billy Napier's got to stop throwing the ball all the time. I get that you're down, but they've been throwing the ball, I think, almost 60% of the time. That is ridiculous with the offensive line and the running back stables that you have. I think that's stupid. We are probably asking too much of DJ Lagway. I mean, he shouldn't throw 5 picks, but once again, this is like his 9th game starting, 10th game starting. We are probably leaning into this a little too much. I personally, looking at this game specifically, I think Billy's got to change something. I think they have to try and run the ball, regardless of what Miami's front is. Jordan Ball has been awesome. He's averaging 6.5 yards per carry. Run him just a couple times. Get the play action going. Get what your offense does. I mean, we saw it in the bowl game last year. They were able to run the ball, and then they did the play action stuff. And DJ Lagway was taking the flats, and he was taking the simple reads. So I think they've really got to drill it into his head. Stop looking for the deep play. There's no 10-point plays in football. There's no 14-point plays in football. You've got to take it one step at a time. Lagway's got to be better than he was last week. There's no way he throws 5 picks again. I can promise you that. And I think the biggest thing for me is I just don't know if this game can get out of hand because of how elite Florida's defense has been. They've let up 2 touchdowns. 2. This whole year. And LSU, Garrett Nussmeier's dealing with an injury, a torso injury, which was reported earlier this week. But still, they held an LSU offense that last year was really good, has the same weapons. Like, Florida's defense has been really good. And I look back to last year, different teams, obviously. But Carson Beck in Georgia had 6 points a half against Florida last year. He threw 3 picks in that game. You're telling me he can't do it again? I mean, he's the most turnover-worthy quarterback in the country. Just because he went to a different team doesn't mean he's just this awesome quarterback now. He just hasn't faced anyone that's had a good secondary. Sorry, Notre Dame. But apparently your coach doesn't know how to coach secondaries anymore. So, I personally 100% could see Florida forcing a turnover early, Lagway getting a touchdown, them being able to run the ball. Let's slow this game down. I see it. And I've got to see Miami's defense. Yeah, I think they played well against Notre Dame, but Notre Dame came back. CJ Carr had 270 yards on the road against a good secondary. Is that CJ Carr or is that the secondary? Because A&M's secondary isn't good either. So I think it's more of the secondary. And I just don't know. As long as you can limit Ruben Bain and those edge rushers, I feel pretty good about them being able to cover a 7 or a 7.5. I have the over. I think that they have to score to be in this game. Because as much as I like Florida's defense against Miami's offense, Miami can score. And we've seen that. So I'm taking the over. I lean Florida at 7. If this number keeps going, which it's only Wednesday, we're going to get heavy movers later in the week. I would take Florida if it gets to 8 or 9. But right now I will not. But I'll play devil's advocate for this.
Breaking the cycle right before the end.
Right? Yeah.
It's like college game day saver right there. You know, I love it.
Making sure we don't get embarrassed.
Yeah. Appreciate that.
I guess now we can go over our best bets for the weekend. These are the actual ones that are going to be placed, as far as I understand,
Have been placed
for this weekend, and have been placed. Yes. I don't know how many we all have. I know I have a fair amount. I think I don't not as much as like I normally do. I mean, I'll double check myself. I have 13. Okay, so yeah, nothing terrible. It's pretty on par with whatever. But yeah, same thing as we usually have. Pretty much going to go one by one with it, and then alternate or piggyback off of agrees / disagrees, whatever and whatnot, right? So I'll start with my first one, and I'm going back to the Big 12, SMU, TCU. Simple doctrine, give me points. Both offenses, very electric through the air. SMU run game is something that is not to sleep on either. TCU, 117th in pass defense efficiency. SMU's O-line, I think, is going to hold up long enough to allow some explosive plays to develop for Jennings. TCU, their D-line is just not there for me. Similar cap to Baylor SMU in this kind of case. Like it was, what was that, last week, 2 weeks ago? Easiest over of our life. And that pretty much, yeah, like this is probably just a similar case. So I expect a similar game here. Honestly, a shootout would be really good. And I think this game is going to be great.
Jake, go ahead and get the whiteboard out real quick for me.
Yes, sir.
We got our first head-to-head between me and Cade.
What?
I am on the under in this game.
Hell yeah.
While both teams have shown offensive capabilities, I think SMU's recent trend towards the under and TCU's defensive vulnerabilities suggests that the total points may be closer to the under than the over. My models all love the under across all three of them. The highest points that it had was 58, between 54 and 58. So I'm going to trust my models. I know that it doesn't necessarily look like this game should go over, which is why we're seeing such a high number. But I like the under here, and I'm going to roll with it and be different for once.
All right, you guys have two different numbers, so I'm going to meet in the middle. We're going 63.5.
Wait, what'd you have, Cade? I didn't even miss.
He has 62.5. So we'll just meet in the middle.
That's fine.
Because there's no 62.5 out there for the under, so that's not happening. So yeah, we'll go middle. You guys get 63.5 for the agree, disagree. Both can win. Whatever.
That's fine. Because I don't think it hits. Honestly, I don't know. That's fine. I'll take it.
I don't think it is.
Yours, I think he's talking about, not his. I do have a play in this game. It's not a total, because I think it's way too high, and I also don't want to play the under because I think they could score that many, so it scares me. I'm going to take SMU plus 7. I don't see a world where this is 7. I understand kind of what happened with Baylor 2 weeks ago, but I think Baylor's a better football team than TCU, and I believe SMU was favored. So I don't agree with this number being this high. I know it's at TCU, I think, and that's why we're at a 7, but I know they struggled last week. It's a look-ahead letdown spot. Come on. They had just played Baylor. They go play Missouri State on the road, and then now they have to go play TCU. If we're making the line based off of that, I think that's stupid. I think they keep it within a touchdown. I think they could win outright, personally. I think they have the explosive offense to do it. I think they can attack TCU where they need to. The biggest question is going to be, can they take turnovers away from TCU and Josh Hoover, which we'll see. We don't know. But yeah, give me 7. I think 7's way too.
As much as I would love to put that on the board, strongest of strong, like talking like, I don't know, who's the strongest man? What is his name? Brian something? Brian Shaw? Yeah, Brian Shaw type of lean to SMU. Like, really? I don't know. I just think it's kind of ridiculous. What's my next one? That's right. We're going to another over. There's so many like 60s totals in this slate. It's actually kind of funny, and I'm not taking a single under. Yeah, I'll take the over in Arkansas Memphis 61.5 minus 110 on Fanatics. It's pretty simple here. All right, Taylon Green, Brendan Lewis, Sutton Smith, Omega Blake. Do your thing. Memphis is borderline last in tackling. Right? Horrid pass defense efficiency. Overpowering advantage to Arkansas's pass attack, right? Arkansas, on the other hand, not the greatest rush defense. I expect a lot of action on the ground from Lewis and Smith, zone reads, your RPOs. Also, they can rely on both offenses to pretty much strictly finish drives as long as there are no dumb fourth down conversions instead of taking points, which seems to happen a lot in games like these. I think Arkansas is favored at 7, I think is what the line is. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Memphis covers this one, given that they're at home. I think this will be a really good game and this could be a shootout.
Too many points for me, but I 100% could see it. I'm not betting against it. I'm just saying 61 is so high. Arkansas. Memphis scares me that they can't get to 30, which scares me that it's a 7-point spread. I'm scared we see like 31-24 for some reason and it doesn't get over. So I'll stay away from that. I do lean the over though. So I do think it's a good play. I'll move to the Thursday game. Me and Dylan are going to put something else on the agreed board here. Rice and Charlotte. I've got them minus 1.5, minus 110 on ESPN Bet. Big surprise team. I mean, they have looked a lot better than people projected them to start the year. They've been playing super well. I have this at over a field goal. I have this around 4.5. And Charlotte has done nothing for me this season to have them be a 1.5 point dog, even if it's at home. I know it's a short week for both teams, and usually that favors the home team, but I just don't think Charlotte's very good this year. I like their coach, but not this year. So give me Rice. You're not supposed to lose to Food, but I think Charlotte's going to lose to Food. I'll take Rice minus 1.5.
Well, you can see that my body has lost to Food, so I'm taking Rice as well. Give me the carbs, baby. The Owls have been impressive.
Hold on.
Hold on. No,
I'm really happy we can make fun out of that.
Leave that in too, please.
Oh, absolutely. That's
so good. That's so good. All right,
that's hilarious.
The Owls have been impressive under new head coach Scott Abel, or Abel, however you say it. I'm going Abel. Implementing a run-heavy option offense that has been effective in the recent games. Chase Jenkins has been a dual threat, contributing both in the air and on the ground. Charlotte has struggled to find consistency, particularly on offense, which has led to disappointing results. Again, with Rice's recent success, recent form, Charlotte's challenges, the Owls are poised to win outright. It's a pick'em game, so you can get a better number with the minus 1.5, minus 2.5. I just took a money line for minus 126.
Go Owls.
I do lean that way after the line movement. But yeah.
Piggyback.
I don't like that weekday game specifically just because I'm scared of Charlotte after what they let happen after App State. Like, that was just kind of absurd. So I feel like fading Charlotte in any circumstance feels like a, a decent play. Next play brings me to American Conference, and that is going to be North Texas taking on Army at West Point. So get ready for some talk about absolute sharp movement here and good CLV. You guys know how I love my early opening numbers. And quite frankly, that's the only reason I grabbed this. Quite frank. So I have North Texas plus 3.5, minus 123 on Novig, and the money line at plus 110 on Fanatics. Put a note that I was projecting reverse line movement up to 3.5, maybe 4.5 in some spots when it closes. As it stands, when I posted that to my action at the time being, this is now up to minus 2.5, I think, and jumping, or it's at least juiced, I think is what it is. North Texas dominated Washington State last week, right? So obviously due for some regression there. They're my favorite win total, favorite conference championship bet of the year, and it's I love where we're sitting. But again, having a game like this, I would expect some regression. Like I was saying, it's just I don't think it's hard enough to drop off, or a hard enough drop off to drop this game completely, I should say. Defense, in my opinion, is just too good. Last year, when they played Bryson Daly and Army, they did get beat in their home turf. But now, without their X factor, I don't really know who's it going to be for Army this year. I haven't looked into a lot of Service Academy numbers, honestly, just because they're really hard to cap earlier in the year. So for a value play, I guess you could say, I love the 3.5 points that I got, and for the price of the money line, because obviously given now that those lines are completely long gone. So I've already won with my number. If it loses, it loses. But as long as I know that I have the best number available, then I've done all that I can do. So I'm happy about it.
Yeah, I'll take Army plus 2.5. So we're against each other, but the numbers are completely...
Not necessarily, because I respect, I like that still.
Both can win here. Probably both will win, I would assume. I think this is going to be a close game.
Yeah.
But I think the wrong team's favored. I don't agree with the movement. I think Army should be favored more by 1 or 2. I don't think they should be underdogs. I know you're saying North Texas beat the crap out of Washington State last week. Cool. I don't think Washington State's good.
By no means. Yeah.
No impressive wins for me from North Texas. They've looked good. But I also just watched Army beat a Big 12 team. Not that the Big 12 team's good, but I think people are overreacting to the Tarleton State loss. It was a whole new offense, and with how they shorten games, they're going to lose games like that. That happens. So I think Army's been decent against the pass so far this year against who they've played. I know North Texas strengths passing, so I think they're going to be able to limit it a little bit. And then I think as long as Army's playing a team that is in similar caliber to them, they're going to be able to run the ball. So I think they can run the ball. I think they'll shorten the game. I expect it to be low scoring, 1 possession. I'll take the underdog.
I do like, just looking at this now, sorry. There's the total sitting at 50 and a half some spots. Honestly, I kind of like it. So if that's an angle for anybody, I do think that's kind of more of a dogfight on the defensive sides. Yeah, if you can find an under for a decent price, I would say might not be a terrible look.
Well, then, not to spoil the fun, but give me the over 50.5 here, okay?
Wait, are we kidding? Oh my god.
No, he's not.
I'm not kidding.
Oh. Well,
okay. I know you guys, yes, North Texas has not really played anybody, but they are averaging 47.7 points per game. Army's offense, agreed. They do shorten the game. They do run the ball. But I think they're going to be able to run big plays with the ball. So, yes, it's going to take up some clock time. Yes, it's going to be lower scoring than, like, if this was much higher than this, I probably wouldn't take it. But I think we're getting that key number of 51 here. So I do like it as the over. While I do think I don't really have a side in this game, I don't know. I think this could be a higher total. My models do love this, and some of them predict it by going over by at least a full touchdown. So I think we could get there and it still be a defensive battle type of game. but with points. So, with what would it have to be? 28-21? No, that would be 28-24 type game. So I think you could still consider that a defensive game, but still hit the over.
I have North Texas projected minus 3.6 and the totals at 47. Personally, but
I'll take my field goal there though.
My models lean the over, so I lean with you. I mean,
I'm just kidding. That's the beauty of all this. It's kind of funny.
It's fine. I could see the over, and I completely understand the rationale and don't disagree with the rationale for the under. I just think that at this point, if this is a later, like 3 weeks down the road, then yes, give me the under because I think the defenses would be more gelled and more like. But North Texas is so hot right now that I think they're going to come out swinging. Army's going to get stops. I'm not saying it's going to be a shootout, but I do think we still get at least 51 points in this game.
It's also hard. Like they didn't prep for Army, so they're going into this game raw. That's not easy to do in 6 days. It's why Army wins games. So I get it for both sides as well. I don't have a play in either, and personally, I wouldn't play either. But
no, I don't have. Yeah, I said I'm not playing it. I was just of a lean, I guess, from a total or a model standpoint. But yeah,
I could 100% see the over. I could 100% see the under. I wish you luck. Personally, I'll be rooting for it.
Thank you, sir. Trying to get my percentage down just a little bit so people don't tell
me. To the specific number that we all three had in mind, yeah. Let's see. I had next, I already went over them. Texas Tech over 13.5 first half team total. Oklahoma minus 4.5. So, brings me to my next one, which is Duke NC State. Have an in-state rival. Duke is pretty much looking for any sort of life after these past 2 games right now. And honestly, what a beautiful spot to back them. I have Duke minus 3, minus 110 on MGM. Especially versus an in-state rival, I got to put my full trust into Manny Diaz here in this kind of game. They probably should have won last week if we're being completely honest with you. Yes, they were down pretty big early, but they came back. They outgained. They outpassed. It was a 20-yard rushing difference between the two. Obviously, Tulane's offense is not anywhere close to NC State's. I love CJ Bailey. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a lot of fun to watch. But once again, Mensa did have an interception that resulted in Tulane points last week, and then a rough turnover and downs that could have potentially given them the lead. Overall, I'd be pretty much banking on some turnover luck on Duke's defensive side going up against NC State's offense, as they've played decent football, but they've been incredibly lucky, I must say. I think that they should have easily lost to Virginia earlier in this year. They could have lost to Wake if it wasn't for 3 turnovers in that game as well. I think you can take the cheap line here for as much as it is and expect a bounce back game for Mensa, especially at home. I just like the spot here, and I think that they finally get it done.
I'll be playing a play in the same game, but I will not be playing Duke. I wanted to play a side, but I don't trust either team, unfortunately. Duke's been awful defensively. You can't cut it any way. They've been terrible. For a coach that's all about defense, they've been awful. So I don't trust either team to be consistent. I think they're both inconsistent on both sides of the ball. I am going to put my trust in Manny Diaz here because I'm taking the under at 59.5, minus 118 on FanDuel. I think the total is a little too high. I don't necessarily see NC State putting up 30 points against this defense. I know they've been bad. They've played good offenses. This is not as good of an offense as the 2 they've played recently. And then on the other side, it seems like Darian Mensah has a turnover problem, and it doesn't seem like that's fixing against anybody. So I'm going to take him to throw a pick again, fumble the ball. And I think that'll just stall drives, and we'll get out of here at hopefully, 54, 55 points.
I like it. I don't have a play in this one, but I do also lean the under here. My models have it, again, right at 54, the lowest being 50. So I do think this goes under. But again, I didn't play a side in this. I just don't I don't trust either team. It could go either way. I do think it leans under, but I might add it later. But as of right now, I don't have it added in there. I do have, however, some Friday night action. I actually missed out on this opening line. I really wanted to find Tulsa plus 14.5, but it actually is to like an 11.5, I think, on FanDuel. I think ESPN, I believe, still had a 13.5. There was still some this is kind of all over the place in some areas when I was looking at it earlier. It could have changed by now. It could have been changed today. I don't know. But what I did is I went ahead and teased it to 10.5 because I fully believe that Tulsa could keep this within 10 points. It is only it's a minus 104. It's not the best number, but Tulsa's running back, Dominic Richardson, is a key player in this game. He has been a bell cow for the Golden Hurricane in 2025. He's carried the ball 53 times for 296 yards, 2 touchdowns. He averages 5.6 yards a carry. Tulsa loves to run the football. They around almost 40 attempts per game. As a full unit, they're averaging almost 5 yards a carry. Oklahoma State has obviously struggled against the run this season. They allow over 5.5 yards of play. That is 129th in FBS. To me, that's a significant advantage for Tulsa, who's going to focus on this ground game, who's going to control the clock, who's going to shorten the game. And in my opinion, they're going to keep this one close enough. They're going to keep it probably within a score, but I just took the 10.5 because why not?
I do have a model that's predicting Tulsa outright in this game. I think that's kind of something to keep an eye on, personally. It's nearly 3 points off of the total right now. It's literally Oklahoma State roughly just by 6, and then the other one is Tulsa minus 1.7. Could be pretty bad in Stillwater, not gonna lie. So yeah, I would keep an eye out on that one, but I do like that one. Also,
I would take it to a touch. I do like the under exactly because of what I said. I think Oklahoma State is bad as far as run defense. So.
Oklahoma State, I could not probably break 2 touchdowns in this game very well. They're just bad. They're so bad.
Right. So I definitely expect this one to be close and low total. So that's why I landed on. I think I almost took it at a 7.5 clip, but I was like, give me the field goal coverage just in case. So
I like Tulsa to 10. I don't know if I take it to 7. I definitely don't think it's outright, but I think 10's good. And I mean, you could see it. I do see it if the game's short, but I'll probably join with you. I might do it live, but I will be joining on the Tulsa side.
That might be a live play for me as well, honestly. But yeah, going to my next upgraded play of the weekend, going back to the well with the Big 12 games. I have Kansas and West Virginia. One of these teams you have is West Virginia coming off an emotional roller coaster win, comeback win of their pretty much so-called Super Bowl. Kansas, on the other hand, is coming off of a bye, heartbreaking loss to their own rival. That was 2 weeks ago. And then you have a conference home opener now for them. With that being said, I have Kansas minus 11.5, minus 109 at Bali. This is a 1.5 unit play for me to win. Yeah, I think this is a slight revenge angle from last year after dropping this one. Doctrine's pretty simple in this case. I think you can sell high on a West Virginia team that should have probably lost to Ohio. Kansas's defense has been nothing short of very solid outside of playing a really good Missouri offense, but the rush defense is obviously the key here. They're top 25 in rush defense at success rate. Rich Rod obviously loves his running backs. Despite losing Jaheim White, I mean, the number explains itself, really. I mean, strength of schedule-wise, Kansas sits 35th and still has a top 15 pass efficiency and stuff rate. Yet West Virginia sits 89th strength of schedule, and they're not even top 90. You have the rest advantage. You have a revenge angle. Kansas gets this one, I think, and I think they get it done pretty big in this case. I expect Jalen Daniels to have himself a big day.
Agree.
Yeah, I don't have a play, but I just don't like where the line's at now. I mean, it's a 13.5, which I still think Kansas should cover, but just not enough necessarily for me to play it right now.
One of my models has us up to 18, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I think it should be a 3-score game. I'm not saying that. I just don't know.
Might be another alt line play, honestly.
Right,
I'm not,
right. I'm kind of like, I don't know. I mean, I just don't know what West Virginia we're going to get. Like, were they just too hyped because of the matchup, because it was Pitt, or it was it because it was in Morgantown? You just never know. So I don't. I mean, both of these teams just give me a big old question mark, and that just tells me just to stay away.
If you don't have a play in it already, and this goes for anybody in general, yeah, one of the models has 18, and then the other one, oh my god. Yeah, this could get pretty bad, not gonna lie. Let's just say it's a lot. So yeah, might take an alt line.
Next play I have is, I think this is on Friday night, Iowa Rutgers over 45.5, got it at -105 on Fanatics. This is basically just on Rutgers kind of thing. I think Iowa's going to be able to put up mid-20s to high 20s. Rutgers been explosive on offense. They've actually been super fun to watch, which they weren't last year. It's been really different. They have a really bad defense this year with who they've played. I mean, they've let up points on points on points. So I think Iowa's going to be able to score, and I also think Rutgers should be able to score. I think it's a close game. I think the line's sitting at like 2.5. So I think this is played into the mid to high 20s, and I'll take the over.
I will say my models do like the over. I don't have a play in it, but I am monitoring that currently. Moving on, we love the action around here, so I had to get this in. It's not out of the question that I'm not at this game yet, but we'll see what happens closer to Saturday. So we have action that I just absolutely love. We're going to the real Oxford of the college football world, Brick Street, Miami, Ohio. The UNLV Rebels come in at a 2.5-point favorite. 15.5 is a total. I'm taking UNLV -2.5 and the under 15.5. The Rebs are 3-0 to start the season, 5-1 against the spread in the last 6. Miami is 0-3, very inconsistent on the offensive side of the ball. I think UNLV wins this by a touchdown. Also, fun fact, out of the last 11 games played at Jaeger, 9 of them have went under. Pair all that with the fact that both defenses are decent. I'll take my chances with the under. I do think UNLV is a better team. That's why I'm taking them by at least a field goal.
To piggyback on both yours, I do have all my models trending to the over in the Rutgers-Iowa game, and then all 4 models trending to the under in UNLV-Miami. So good to keep note as some slight agree, I guess you could kind of say, in terms of a model data standpoint. My next play goes back to the absolute gold mine of fading my favorite team to fade this year, by far. Coastal Carolina. Welcome to the party. You guys suck. So I'm going to keep betting on you guys to suck. So under 17.5 team total, -125 at DraftKings. They get South Alabama on the road. Spread currently, I think, is sitting roughly 14.5, 2 possessions. Each game for this team is just getting objectively worse by the week. It's laughable at this point, honestly. You put up 7 points against Virginia, 13 against Charleston Southern, who is one of the worst teams in the entire world in the college football realm. And then you get shut out by Eastern Carolina in a game that you were underdogs by 5 or 6 in, and then they ended up winning by, 40? Kind of bad. Your 2 quarterbacks, MJ Morris and Tad Hudson, have combined for 0 touchdowns, but 6 interceptions. Round of applause to you guys for that.
They should definitely transfer.
Honestly, that's probably impressive. It's honestly impressive as it is, bad, honestly. Overall, this game, I think, is an unders game. I just feel a lot safer fading Coastal's entire offense. Pretty simple there. But yeah, South Alabama, I think, is just a decently run heavy team this year. So I expect Bullock to not only get his traditional bell cow workload to take chunks out, but I think that they kind of run the clock in this kind of game and it keeps Coastal off the field as a whole. I just don't see a world where this team hits 20s roughly. I even given the amount of points that they put up, I just don't know why points would all of a sudden come now. So I just don't see that happening.
My next game is I'm taking Maryland to cover against Wisconsin at plus 11, minus 113 on Bali. I love anything over 10. Maryland's offense has been inconsistent, but when it's on, it's super good. Their quarterback has been great. They are able to throw the ball really well. Haven't been able to run the ball well, but I think they're going to be able to pass the ball. We just saw what Ty Simpson did to Wisconsin's defense, so not too worried about that. I don't see 11 points separating this team, regardless of who plays at Wisconsin's quarterback position. I just don't trust Luke Fickell to cover double-digit points in a Big Ten game.
Yeah, I'm looking at next two teams I was pretty high on beginning of the season. Still I'm high on JMU, just way less high on Liberty. I'm going to take JMU minus 9.5. I got this for 110 at FanDuel. James Madison is a favorite, and I think this number is climbing, and it's easy to see why. The Dukes have a balanced, efficient offense. They average 230 pass yards, nearly 220 rush yards a game. Liberty is super inconsistent on offense. Their defense has not shown the ability to slow a team down, let alone a team like JMU. Recent trends and projection models both point to a comfortable double-digit win, making this look very playable. Basically, long story short, JMU should control this game from start to finish.
I sure hope so. At the beginning of the year, didn't we say Liberty was winning this game? Or what did we say at the beginning of the year?
We just said they were were they in Conference USA?
No, we were talking about like Liberty going undefeated and this game being like the biggest swing game for them.
I never was saying that.
I'm pretty sure
we said Liberty was going to lose multiple games. Liberty sucks.
I know they suck. Don't get me wrong. Yeah.
But what are they in Conference USA? I'm saying that correct,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
I had Western Kentucky versus Liberty in the championship, but Western Kentucky to win it.
No, I knew that.
That's looking like a good, solid play.
Cade's the one who was all in on Liberty. I said
I was?
Yes, you were the one that was all in on Liberty. You had a Liberty to make the playoff ticket.
I mean, yeah, at the time because of a value play, but it didn't mean I'm like high on them.
I mean, that's high enough.
That's high enough.
Sure.
I said Liberty would
Georgia
lose
to miss the playoff. I had Ohio State to miss the playoff. Do I think it
Anyway.
might happen? Probably not, but
Yeah, I have said the entire time I thought Liberty was losing to JMU and I thought they'd drop another one. I never thought this team was going undefeated.
no. I mean, no, not undefeated. They have an easy schedule. They probably should be undefeated, but I have the over, and I like the over in that game. I have all models trending towards the over at 47.5. Could be high scoring. JMU's projected just over 30 points. Liberty's struggling gaming to take double digits, or not double digits, sorry, 20 plus maybe, which I'm good. As for the Maryland game, one of my models has Maryland outright, so that's kind of funny as well. My next one is going back to another gold mine of mine from this past week, and that is Southern Miss. Takes La Tech, and we get Southern Miss at 3 plus 3.5, minus 107 on Fanatics. As it stands, shockingly enough, Southern Miss's only loss is to Mississippi State this far. What seems to look like a quality loss at this point now, just because they're getting votes in the poll, which is shocking as it is. But they're coming off a dominating, impressive win over App State. They forced 3 turnovers in that game. Secondary looks to be one of the best in the Sun Belt Conference this year. But for Louisiana Tech, seems like we have a lot of box score watchers on our hands because they win by a lot, but their pass attack absolutely sucks. 120th in yards through the air, completed less than half of their attempts. The list goes on with these kind of rankings. But Blake Baker, who is not the LSU defensive coordinator, that is Louisiana Tech's quarterback, by the way, very good on his feet. But it's really nothing that this defensive coordinator, Jason Seymour, at Southern Miss is not used to. Guy came from Marshall. He's very familiar with these mobile QBs. He took on JMU. I don't know his first name, but Barnett. You guys remember him? Really good year last year with that team. But yeah, they're very familiar with these kind of quarterbacks. So I expect him to kind of shut him down on both ways, through the air and on the ground.
Okay, my next one. I am going to this. I'm pretty sure this is your alma mater, is it not, Jake?
Maybe.
Mid 10?
Maybe.
Okay.
Yes.
Look, but the docs is crazy, dude. Jeez.
It's fine. So I'm taking Marshall moneyline here. It's a minus 134. My models are all over this game. They love Marshall minus 2.5. They love Marshall moneyline. They also lean to the over. But I'm out of all that. I'm just taking moneyline. I think the Hurts offense has been clicking of late. They're averaging 21 points a game. Their defense, they call that clicking, but it's clicking for Marshall. Their defense has tightened up, allowing, it says just 24 points. But look at who they played. On the other hand, Middle Tennessee, the Blue Raiders, they have struggled to score. They've put up 14 twice and 10 once. I mean, again, look at who they've played, but their defense is pretty inconsistent. Trends favor Marshall. They've been strong both straight up and against the spread. All signs, to me, point to Marshall taking this one outright. And just to be safe, is why I'm taking the money line over the spread.
Good bet.
I have, every one of my models is on Marshall as well as the over. So spread and money line, everyone. So yeah, we are. My second to last one I have is one of the new ones that I kind of just posted. Goes out into the West Coast, 11 p.m. kickoff time. That's just kind of gross to me, I'm not going to lie. But USC takes on Michigan State in the Coliseum, and we might have bloodbath on our hands, potentially. I have USC's team total over 36.5 for minus 122 placed on Bali. There is just a humongous, massive EPA edge to USC in this case. If you factor in Michigan State's travel, offense is at top 10 in finishing quality drives, and it's probably my only way of backing my blood oath this year, or backing my blood oath in this game. I missed the opening 14.5 as much as I kind of wanted it. If you can maybe get a 16.5, I would like it, but even then, I think 36, 37 isn't really a bad bet on the team total either. So I like that. I like that edge. Even Michigan State team total under in that case if it's to a certain number. So
my second to last, Syracuse Clemson over 55.5. I think this has to be a bounce back week for Clemson after what Dabo has said in the press. If you haven't seen that, go look at it. It's pretty funny. I think the offense should start clicking against a pretty horrendous Syracuse defense. We just watched Tennessee put up over 40 against them. So I think Clemson should be able to get at least to 30, probably, maybe even higher than that. Plus, Syracuse has a good offense. They should be able to pass the ball. If they can keep Angeli upright against these defensive players of Clemson, I think we're going to be in for a shootout. I see it being like, 35-24, something like that. I think Clemson will just show life this week.
I have all my models trending on the over for that game as well. Clemson could very well put up 40 in that game, as much as I don't think that they will, but one of the models has them at 45, so why not? Last one for me is going back to this is honestly really funny. I think you've had these overs a number of times this year, but I'm kind of fading that one this time. So Sam Houston,
Smart.
honestly, Sam Houston State gets Texas in Austin, and we have yet another 52 total. Like, they've literally all been the same number too, which is even funnier. Yeah, I'll bank on the unders team here. Talking about Texas in this case. This team just keeps it on, and the defense holds, but the offense just never give enough. So honestly, Texas unders just might be an automatic play from here on out. I think there's a ton of value in this case because my model sits at 47. So anything 52 or better, I like it a lot. I got this for minus 118 on Bali. So yeah.
I would also not be too afraid to look at Sam Houston cover in this was like 33.
30. I think it was like almost 40.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, 35-7 isn't out of the question for this game. So.
No, it's not. And then my last play is Vandy, Georgia State over 52.5, minus 110 on Fanatics. Revenge game for Vandy after losing to them at home last year. I personally think Diego Pavia does not forget, and he will never forget what you do to him. I think they're going to run it up. I know a lot of sharps are on Georgia State to cover this because Vandy doesn't get up for these kind of games. I don't think they're looking at the revenge factor here. I think they want to pour it on Georgia State. I am hoping Georgia State can get me like 14, and then I just want Vandy to do the rest. I want them to run the ball over and over and over again and just kill this Georgia State defense that's been terrible. It's been awful this year against competition that's not that good. So give me Vandy to hit the over. I don't want to touch anything with Vandy covering. Just because of all that, but I will take the over. I think this gets over pretty high.
Yeah, I can't find a very good angle to back Vanderbilt here after last week, honestly. Whoops. Yeah, I think the safest bet is the over, but I do have all my models green lighting on heavy green light on Georgia State. One of them's got them pretty close, but I don't think it's going to be close. I just think it's going to be a decently high scoring overall. But if that's, I believe that might be everything for today. Yeah. So these shows are kind of obviously a little bit harder to do and toughen out just because they are longer with no morning huddle show that we have. We have a lot of agrees and I think a few disagrees. I don't know how many to be exact. We'll probably get a check on that. But
check the action. I think most of us have everything. Well, I don't know if you two do. I actually plays. My personal plays are in action so far.
All plays.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
There you go.
All plays from all three of us will be tracked into action either later tonight or tomorrow morning. So you'll be able to see all three of ours. On the agree tab, Texas Tech, or me and Dylan, Texas Tech, Utah over 57.5, Illinois plus 5.5, Rice money line. All of us, Oklahoma minus 6.5, Nebraska plus 3, Baylor minus 2.5. Only disagree is Cade and Dylan this week, SMU, TCU, over under 63.5.
Not too shabby then. So be looking for a recap on those. We'll be active in the Discord, obviously, all weekend regarding these games. Yeah, pretty straightforward now. You've got our bets. All you have to do is just pretty much go to your books and just burn them to the ground again this weekend. Hopefully we can do it. Might be a little bit dangerous because of how much we like together, but that's the beauty of it. So once again, as always, appreciate you guys for hanging out. Be sure to join the Discord. Be sure to like, follow, subscribe, comment, leave reviews, share with your friends. And then next Saturday, we'll see you for the morning huddle. And then I believe Monday or Tuesday, we'll have our recap and reaction up for week 4. Until then, we'll see you guys. Have a good weekend and good luck with your bets.